This video is to introduce the module Organizational Architecture. My name is Bruce Holland. I'm the author of the book Cracking Great Leaders and designer of the Cracking Great Leader program. If you don't have good design, you get a hit and miss type organization. Elements of the organization fight against each other. It's not just that they don't fit together neatly, it's they actually work against each other and can drastically reduce the amount of value that comes out of the whole. The organization may simply not be fit for purpose, and you get unnecessary complexity. In some organizations, working can be like walking through thick mud or having spider webs that hold you back because processes and technology and culture and the politics of the organization can be just so complex that the whole thing grinds to a halt. And the obvious result is less profit. Essentially, there are really only 4 design options. You can have an organization which is essentially rational. That's that blue quadrant. Think of major universities, think of accounting organizations, think of research organizations. Quite rational left brain thinking type. You can have left brain, more intuitive type organizations where systems and processes are much more important. Think of McDonald's, who can produce a hamburger anywhere in the world in 6 minutes. Or you can have more right brain organizations, innovative organizations for this yellow type quadrant. And they tend to be more right brain thinking approaches. They're the great designers, the great innovators. Think of Apple Computer. Think of Peter Jackson's Wingnut Studios. Think of 3M. And then you have the right brain intuitive. These are organizations that intuit their customers' needs extraordinarily well and probably know their customer's business better than the customer knows it. So the module will give you a questionnaire to go through to work out which is the most likely design option for your organization. And partly it depends on the environmental situation into which the organization is being designed. So down here in this green quadrant, we have this repetitive environment where the past is a good indicator of the future, and essentially the problems are managerial type problems. Up here, where it gets a bit more technically uncertain, but still fairly people certain, we get an engineering type environment where a lot more skill is required to be able to produce the products, but essentially there's agreement about how to do it. Over here we have uncertainty around the people thing. Essentially technically fairly certain. These tend to be political environments. Issues can't be solved without the help of other organizations taking outsiders with you. They're political type problems we're trying to solve. And up in this yellow quadrant, we get the what we call the wicked environment, where the issues are complex and probably never been solved before. So we have to think in quite different sorts of ways, and the environment requires much more innovation. So this chart maps quite nicely onto the previous chart. It's also, though, important when you're thinking about designing an organization to know what's already on site. One of the key messages is that culture trumps strategy. So if your organization is very green, very process driven, very operational, and your aim, your strategy is to become very yellow, very innovative, the chances are the culture will stop you from achieving your strategy. Balance and harmony in organization development are extraordinarily important. And there are a whole series, 12 in fact, elements of an organization that you need to get in balance and pulling together in exactly the same way. Because you can see from the first boat here, if people aren't pulling in the same way, actually you don't go forward. But if we can get people pulling together and in harmony and all elements pulling together, 12 things need to be pulling together, otherwise they'll start fighting against each other and the organization will simply grind to a halt. This module helps you work out what are the 12 elements and how to get them so that they work together. So don't let your organization be hit and miss. Design something that's going to give you a lot more profit. Your next steps are to download the readings and become very familiar with them. You need to download the process and understand the process. Deliver the module and collect your revenue way, way faster. I mean, what I'm giving in this module has taken me literally a lifetime to understand and to document. I find actually that I use the information in this module more when I'm talking one-to-one with a manager, and they end up thinking, wow, this guy Bruce Holland really knows his stuff. He is an expert on how organizations work. He's an organizational architect, if you like. I know I can trust him with this small piece because he's got this big picture about how all the parts work. And I guess if that's the only thing that comes out of this module for you is your credibility, then that's been well worthwhile. But often you're able to work with boards and senior managers around strategy, and you can do this in a much more integrated and holistic type way than if you follow the traditional strategic planning processes. This may be one of the most important modules in the Cracking Great Leaders program, so take it, use it, and make it your own.